Halo's newest game has been revealed. Halo Campaign Evolved. First, I gotta say, that is an extremely stupid name. Now, I'm gonna try and not be a hater, because I think I'm just completely jaded as a Halo fan. But watching the trailer, I just not super excited. Don't get me wrong, it looks really nice, and it looks exactly like what I would imagine a Halo CE remake in Unreal Engine to look like. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but that just isn't doing it for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna play it. I think it still could be a lot of fun, and it will be a good entry point for PlayStation players to get into the franchise, though I still think they could have just ported MCC over to PlayStation. They could have just played the originals, but, you know, I'm a crazy person. They also added Sprint, so that's pretty contentious for a lot of people. The campaign-only game. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I do think it pretty much confirms that we will never see another Halo game with no Sprint. If they're literally adding in Sprint to the originals, that to me is a little bit of a bummer, because I did want to see a multiplayer game with no Sprint at some point in the future, and I think this pretty much just confirms that will never happen. Now, Campaign Evolved does have some new things to it. There are going to be 3 new levels, which I'm pretty excited to check out. They're prequel levels, and hopefully they're really cool. And then they're also adding in some new weapons into the game. It seems like they're just going to be weapons from later in the franchise added into Campaign Evolved. Jeez. Okay, but things like the needle rifle, the battle rifle, and it also mentions stuff that was in CE originally but you couldn't pick up, so things like the energy sword. All of that is pretty cool, and hopefully they deleted the library and we just don't have to play that level ever again. I think as a next Halo game, this is a pretty safe play. I mean, how much can you really mess it up? I think it'll sell pretty well. People will probably be pretty excited. However, you know, no multiplayer means it's not going to have that long shelf life, so I think this still means for longtime Halo fans, we're still kind of waiting for the next big announcement, and this is kind of just there to hold you over and, you know, kind of keep Halo's name in the news a little bit. Let me know what you think. Oh yeah, also pricing. They didn't announce how much this game's gonna cost, but I really hope it's in like that $40-ish range, because if this ends up being a full $70 or $80 release, I just don't think there's gonna be enough content. Don't get me wrong, the CE campaign is great, you know, at least the original, since that's all we know of, but it's also not that long. So I can't see in 2026 me personally being willing to spend that much money on just the campaign, plus 3 additional levels and maybe some new weapons. So either I hope it's a little bit cheaper, or maybe there's a cool new game mode they haven't revealed, though if I had to guess, there's probably nothing huge lurking beneath for us to see. Anyways, yeah, wanted to add that.